The abduction. The year was 2157, and humanity had just begun to stretch its wings beyond the confines of Earth. Mars colonies were thriving, and the first manned missions to the moons of Jupiter were underway. On Earth, the United Global Alliance, UGA, had ushered in an era of unprecedented peace and technological advancement. However, unbeknownst to the citizens of Earth, a threat loomed in the darkness of space, one that would test the very limits of human resilience and ingenuity. Dr. Amelia Chen, a brilliant astrophysicist, stood on the observation deck of the Lunar Research Station, her dark eyes fixed on the blue marble of Earth hanging in the void. She tucked a strand of her short black hair behind her ear, a habit she developed during long nights of stargazing and data analysis. "Dr. Chen, you might want to see this," called out her research assistant, Jake Thompson. The young man's excited voice echoed through the station's intercom. Amelia made her way to the main research lab, her footsteps echoing in the station's metallic corridors. As she entered, she found Jake hunched over a console, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. "What is it, Jake?" she asked, peering over his shoulder. "I've detected an anomaly at the edge of our solar system," Jake replied, his voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Amelia leaned in, her eyes widening as she took in the data scrolling across the screen. The readings were off the charts, energy signatures that defied explanation, gravitational distortions that shouldn't be possible. "This can't be right," she muttered, her mind racing to make sense of what she was seeing. "Run a diagnostic on the sensors. We need to be sure this isn't a malfunction." Jake nodded and set to work, his fingers dancing across the holographic keys. Minutes ticked by intense silence, broken only by the soft hum of the station's life support systems. "Diagnostic complete," Jake announced. "All systems are functioning normally. Whatever this is, it's real." Amelia felt a chill run down her spine. She had always believed that humanity wasn't alone in the universe, but faced with potential proof, she found herself unprepared for the implications. "We need to alert the UGA immediately," she said, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her mind. "This could be first contact." As Amelia reached for the communication console, the station's alarms blared to life. Red warning lights bathed the lab in an eerie glow. "What now?" Amelia shouted over the din. Jake's fingers flew across the interface. "Something's approaching the station at an impossible speed. It's here." The station shuddered violently, throwing both scientists to the floor. The lights flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. Emergency power kicked in moments later, casting everything in a dim, ghostly blue light. Amelia scrambled to her feet, helping Jake up. "Are you okay?" she asked, her eyes darting around the room, assessing the damage. Before Jake could respond, a blinding light flooded the lab. Amelia shielded her eyes, squinting against the glare. As her vision adjusted, she gasped in shock. Standing before them was a being unlike anything they had ever seen. It stood nearly 8 feet tall, its body a shimmering, translucent blue that seemed to ripple like water. Where a face should have been, there was only a smooth, reflective surface that mirrored their own terrified expressions. "Greetings, humans," a voice echoed in their minds, neither male nor female, but somehow both at once. "We are the Axiom. Your species has been chosen." Amelia found her voice, pushing aside her fear. "Chosen? For what?" The alien's form rippled, and Amelia felt a wave of amusement that wasn't her own. "For salvation, of course. Your planet is doomed, but you need not share its fate." Before either scientist could react, tendrils of light shot out from the alien's body, enveloping them. Amelia felt a strange tingling sensation wash over her, and then nothing. When she awoke, Amelia found herself in a vast, circular chamber. The walls pulsed with an otherworldly light, and she could hear the faint hum of advanced machinery all around her. She was lying on some sort of examination table, surrounded by more of the alien beings. Panic gripped her as she realized Jake was nowhere to be seen. She tried to sit up, but found herself held in place by an invisible force. "Do not be afraid," the same voice from before echoed in her mind. "We mean you no harm." One of the aliens approached, its form rippling and shifting. "You are Dr. Amelia Chen, correct? Your mind contains much knowledge that will be useful to us." Amelia struggled against her invisible bonds. "What have you done with Jake? Where are we?" "Your companion is safe," the alien responded. "As for where you are aboard our ship, far from your solar system. We have much to discuss, Dr. Chen. Your species stands on the brink of a great change, and you'll play a crucial role in shaping its future." As the alien spoke, images flooded Amelia's mind. Visions of Earth racked by natural disasters, of cities crumbling and oceans rising. She saw humanity struggling to survive in a world turned hostile. "This is a fate that awaits your kind if you remain on Earth," the alien continued. "We offer an alternative. Join us, and we will share our knowledge and technology. Together, we can ensure the survival of your species." Amelia's scientific mind raced, processing the information. Part of her was in awe of the advanced beings and the opportunity they presented. But another part, the part that made her human, rebelled against the idea of abandoning Earth and the rest of humanity. "And if we refuse?" she asked, her voice steady despite her fear. The alien's form rippled again, and Amelia felt a wave of what could only be described as regret. "Then you will bear witness to the end of your civilization. We cannot force you to accept our offer, but know that refusal dooms not only you but your entire species." As Amelia lay there, her mind reeling from the alien's ultimatum, she couldn't help but think of all those she had left behind on Earth, her family, her colleagues, the billions of people going about their lives, blissfully unaware of the choice that now lay before her. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and made her decision. Whatever these aliens had planned, whatever fate awaited humanity, Amelia knew one thing for certain: she would not go down without a fight. "I need to speak with my people," she said, her voice firm. "If you truly mean us no harm, if you truly want to help, then you'll allow me to contact Earth. They deserve to know what's happening." The alien was silent for a moment, its reflective face unreadable. Then, slowly, it nodded. "Very well, Dr. Chen. We will allow you to communicate with your leaders. But know this, time is short. The fate of your species hangs in the balance, and every moment of delay brings you closer to extinction." As the invisible force holding her down released, Amelia sat up, her mind already formulating a plan. She didn't know how, but she was determined to find a way to save humanity, not on the aliens' terms, but on their own. Little did the Axiom know, they had just set in motion a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of their civilization. For in choosing Amelia Chen, they had unknowingly selected one of humanity's greatest assets, a mind that wouldn't just accept the presented facts, but would question, analyze, and ultimately find a way to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine the fate of not just Earth, but of two civilizations. And at the center of it all was a woman who refused to accept defeat, a woman who would show the axiom that when pushed to the brink, humanity doesn't just survive, it thrives. Alien Revelations. As Amelia stood in the alien communication chamber, her heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and dread. The room was a marvel of technology, with holographic interfaces that seemed to respond to mere thought. Before her, a vast screen flickered to life, showing the familiar faces of Earth's leaders gathered in an emergency session. "Dr. Chen," began the UGA president, her face etched with concern, "we've been attempting to contact you for days. What's happening?" Amelia took a deep breath, steeling herself for the task ahead. "Madam President, distinguished leaders, I'm afraid I have grave news. Earth is in danger, and we face a choice that will determine the fate of our entire species." Over the next hour, Amelia explained everything she had learned about the axiom and their ominous predictions for Earth's future. She watched as expressions of disbelief, fear, and anger played across the faces of Earth's most powerful individuals. "This is preposterous," exclaimed the Russian premier, his fist slamming down on the table. "We cannot simply abandon our planet based on the word of these aliens." "I agree," Amelia replied, her voice steady. "Which is why I have requested this communication. We need to verify their claims, and if true, find our own solution." As the debate raged among Earth's leaders, Amelia's mind was elsewhere. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the Axiom's story than they were letting on. Their technology was undeniably advanced, but their behavior seemed oddly human. Her thoughts were interrupted by a gentle nudge in her mind, the Axiom's way of communicating. "Your time is up, Dr. Chen. Have your leaders made their decision?" Amelia turned to face the alien being beside her. "They need more time. This isn't a decision that can be made lightly." The alien's form rippled with what Amelia had come to recognize as frustration. "Time is a luxury you do not have. Perhaps we need to provide more convincing evidence." Before Amelia could respond, the communication screen went dark. In its place, a series of images began to flash. Cities crumbling under massive earthquakes, coastlines disappearing beneath rising seas, forests burning in uncontrollable wildfires. "Stop," Amelia shouted, both aloud and in her mind. "This proves nothing. These could be simulations, fabrications." The images faded, replaced by the alien's reflective face. "You doubt our intentions, Dr. Chen. Perhaps it's time we showed you the truth." Suddenly, Amelia felt a strange sensation, as if her mind was being pulled from her body. The world around her blurred and shifted, and when it came back into focus, she found herself standing on the surface of a planet she didn't recognize. The sky was a sickly green, the air thick with pollutants. Massive structures dotted the landscape, their surfaces pulsing with the same otherworldly energy she had seen on the Axiom's ship. "Welcome to our home world, Dr. Chen," the alien's voice echoed in her mind. Or rather, what's left of it. As Amelia took in the desolate landscape, the alien continued. "Centuries ago, our planet faced the same fate that now threatens Earth. We ignored the warnings, believing our technology could save us. We were wrong." The scene shifted, and Amelia watched in horror as the planet's history unfolded before her. She saw great cities crumble, oceans boil away, and billions of Axiom perish in cataclysmic events. "We survived by abandoning our physical forms," the alien explained. "We uploaded our consciousness into these energy matrices you see before you. It saved us from extinction, but at a terrible cost. We lost our connection to the physical world, our ability to feel, to truly live." The vision faded, and Amelia found herself back on the ship, her mind reeling from what she had witnessed. "Why Earth?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why us?" The alien's form seemed to soften, losing some of its otherworldly quality. "Because you remind us of who we once were. Your passion, your resilience, your capacity for both great good and terrible destruction. It mirrors our own past. We hope that by saving you, we might rediscover what we've lost." Amelia's scientific mind raced, processing this new information. If what the Axiom said was true, then Earth truly was in danger. But something still didn't add up. "If you have the power to travel between stars, to show me visions of your past, why can't you simply use your technology to save Earth?" she asked. The alien was silent for a moment, its reflective surface rippling with what might have been uncertainty. "Our technology has limits, Dr. Chen. We can predict, we can offer guidance, but direct intervention, it comes at a cost we are not willing to pay." Amelia's eyes narrowed. What cost? To directly alter the course of a planet's evolution would require us to sacrifice a significant portion of our collective consciousness, the alien explained. Many of us would cease to exist. And there it was, the piece of the puzzle Amelia had been missing. The Axiom weren't saviors, they were survivors, desperately clinging to their existence and willing to sacrifice other species to maintain it. "You're not trying to save us," Amelia said, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and disgust. "You're trying to use us. You want us to willingly give up our physical forms so you can absorb our consciousness, our experiences, without risking yourselves." The alien's form pulsed rapidly, its usually smooth surface becoming jagged and chaotic. "You misunderstand, Dr. Chen. We offer salvation." "No," Amelia interrupted, her voice firm. "You offer a false choice. Humanity won't simply roll over and accept extinction, whether it comes from natural disasters or from losing our very essence to you." She stood tall, her eyes blazing with determination. "We will find our own way. We will save our planet, and we'll do it on our terms." The alien's form stabilized, its reflective surface once again mirror smooth. When it spoke, its mental voice was tinged with what might have been respect. "You show great courage, Dr. Chen, but courage alone will not save your world. You have seen the future that awaits you. How do you propose to change it?" Amelia smiled, a plan already forming in her mind. "The same way humanity has always faced its greatest challenges, with innovation, cooperation, and an unwavering will to survive. You've shown us what's coming. Now, we'll show you what we can do." As she spoke, Amelia felt a surge of hope. The Axiom had revealed their true nature, but in doing so, they had also given humanity a precious gift: knowledge of the future and the motivation to change it. The alien regarded her silently for a long moment. "Very well, Dr. Chen. We will watch with great interest. But know this, if your efforts fail, our offer still stands. The choice will always be yours." As the alien faded away, leaving Amelia alone in the communication chamber, she knew that the real battle was just beginning. She had to find a way to warn Earth, to unite humanity against both the coming natural disasters and the insidious threat of the Axiom. It would be the greatest challenge humanity had ever faced. But as Amelia prepared to once again address Earth's leaders, she felt a fierce determination take hold. The Axiom had underestimated humanity's resilience, its ingenuity, and its unyielding spirit. It was time to show them, and the universe, exactly what humans were capable of when pushed to the brink. Human resistance begins. As Amelia's face reappeared on the screens of the UGA Emergency Council chamber, the world's leaders leaned forward, tension palpable in the air. Her expression was grim but determined, a look that immediately silenced the ongoing debates. "Ladies and gentlemen," Amelia began, her voice steady despite the weight of her words, "I have grave news. The Axiom are not what they seem. They don't intend to save us. They plan to use us." Over the next hour, Amelia detailed everything she had learned about the Axiom's true nature and their hidden agenda. She watched as expressions of shock, anger, and fear played across the faces of Earth's most powerful individuals. "This is an outrage," the Chinese premier exclaimed, his fist slamming down on the table. "We must take immediate action to protect our planet." The UGA president, her face etched with concern, leaned forward. "Dr. Chen, what do you propose we do? If what you say is true, we face threats from both natural disasters and these alien beings." Amelia took a deep breath, her mind racing with the beginnings of a plan. "We need to act on two fronts. First, we must accelerate our efforts to combat climate change and prepare for natural disasters. Second, we need to develop defenses against the Axiom. They may be technologically advanced, but they're not infallible." The room erupted into a flurry of discussions and arguments. Amelia watched as the world's leaders debated, argued, and finally came to a consensus. The UGA president turned back to the screen, her expression resolute. "Dr. Chen, we're initiating Operation Gaia Shield. All of Earth's resources will be directed towards saving our planet and defending against the Axiom threat. Can we count on your expertise to guide us?" Amelia nodded, a fierce determination in her eyes. "Absolutely, Madam President, but I'll need a team, the best minds Earth has to offer." Within days, Operation Gaia Shield was in full swing. The Lunar Research Station, now expanded and fortified, became the command center for Earth's resistance. Amelia found herself at the helm of a diverse team of scientists, engineers, and strategists from every corner of the globe. Dr. Raj Patel, a brilliant climatologist from India, led the efforts to develop advanced weather control systems. His team worked tirelessly to create a network of atmospheric regulators that could mitigate the worst effects of climate change. Meanwhile, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a prodigy in the field of quantum physics, spearheaded the development of defensive technologies against the axiom. Her theories on energy manipulation and interdimensional barriers pushed the boundaries of human understanding. Amelia split her time between coordinating these efforts and studying the axiom themselves. She pored over the data from her encounters with the aliens, searching for weaknesses, inconsistencies, anything that could give humanity an edge. Weeks turned into months, and progress was made on both fronts. The first atmospheric regulator was successfully deployed over the Amazon rainforest, already showing promising results in stabilizing local weather patterns. Dr. Tanaka's team had developed a prototype shield that could potentially block the axiom's energy-based technology. But the axiom were not idle. Reports began to trickle in from around the globe of strange phenomena, inexplicable equipment malfunctions, bizarre weather patterns that defied the laws of physics, and most disturbingly, disappearances of key scientists and leaders. Amelia knew the axiom were testing Earth's defenses, probing for weaknesses. She doubled down on security measures, implementing strict protocols to protect the most crucial aspects of Operation Gaia Shield. One evening, as Amelia was reviewing the latest data in her lab, she felt a familiar presence in her mind. The axiom had returned. "Your efforts are impressive, Dr. Chen," the alien's voice echoed in her thoughts. "But futile. You cannot hope to match our technology." Amelia stood firm, her mind a fortress against the alien's intrusion. "We don't need to match your technology. We just need to survive, to adapt. It's what humans do best." She felt a ripple of what might have been amusement from the alien entity. Perhaps, but at what cost? How many will suffer and die as you struggle against the inevitable? Images flashed through Amelia's mind. Cities flooding, forests burning, millions displaced by disasters that seemed to defy explanation. She gritted her teeth, pushing back against the mental assault. "These are your doing," she accused. "You're not just watching, you're interfering, trying to force our hand." The alien's presence seemed to grow colder, more menacing. "We are merely hastening the inevitable, Dr. Chen. Accept our offer, and the suffering will end." Amelia's resolve hardened. "Never. Humanity will fight to its last breath before surrendering to you." As the alien's presence faded, Amelia slumped against her desk, exhausted from the mental confrontation. But as she caught her breath, a realization struck her. The axiom were worried. Why else would they be resorting to such tactics? With renewed energy, Amelia called an emergency meeting of the Gaia Shield leadership. As the holographic faces of her team appeared around her, she shared her encounter and her suspicions. "The axiom are getting desperate," she concluded. "They're trying to force our hand because they know we're making progress. We need to push harder, faster." Dr. Tanaka leaned forward, her eyes bright with excitement. "I think I might have something that could turn the tide. My team has been working on a way to disrupt the axiom's energy matrices. If we can perfect it, we might be able to hurt them, maybe even destroy them." A hush fell over the group. The idea of actually fighting back against the seemingly invincible axiom was both exhilarating and terrifying. Amelia nodded slowly, her mind racing with the implications. Do it, but keep it absolutely top secret. If the axiom find out, she didn't need to finish the thought. Everyone understood the stakes. As the meeting concluded and the holograms winked out, Amelia found herself alone in her lab once more. She walked to the window, gazing out at the earth hanging in the void, beautiful and fragile. The next few months would be critical. The Axiom were escalating their efforts, and Earth's defenses were still far from complete. But for the first time since this crisis began, Amelia felt a glimmer of hope. Humanity was rising to the challenge, showcasing the very qualities that had allowed it to survive and thrive for millennia: adaptability, ingenuity, and an indomitable spirit. As she turned back to her work, Amelia allowed herself a small smile. The Axiom had made a grave mistake in underestimating humanity, and soon, very soon, they would learn just how costly that mistake would be. The resistance had truly begun, and Earth was ready to fight for its future, the Great Escape. As the months wore on, the situation on Earth grew increasingly dire. Despite the best efforts of Operation Gaia Shield, natural disasters continued to escalate, pushing human civilization to its limits. The Axiom's interference became more overt, with strange energy anomalies disrupting critical infrastructure and causing chaos worldwide. Amelia and her team worked tirelessly, pushing the boundaries of science and technology in their race against time. Dr. Patel's atmospheric regulators were showing promise, stabilizing weather patterns in key regions, but it wasn't enough to stem the tide of global climate change. Dr. Tanaka's defensive shields were holding against most of the Axiom's probes, but the aliens always seemed to find new ways to breach their defenses. One fateful day, as Amelia was reviewing the latest data from Earth, an alarm blared through the Lunar Research Station. Red warning lights bathed the corridors in an eerie glow as the station's AI announced, "Warning, multiple unidentified objects approaching. Collision imminent." Amelia raced to the command center, her heart pounding. The main screen showed a swarm of energy signatures, unlike anything they had seen before, closing in on the station at impossible speeds. "It's the Axiom," Dr. Tanaka said, her voice tight with tension. "They're not holding back anymore." As the alien swarm drew closer, the station's shields flickered to life. For a moment, it seemed they might hold. Then, with a sound like shattering glass, the shields collapsed under the onslaught. "Evacuate the station," Amelia shouted, her voice carrying over the chaos. "Get everyone to the emergency shuttles." As alarms blared and people rushed to escape, Amelia made a split-second decision. "Dr. Tanaka, Dr. Patel, come with me. We need to save our research." The three scientists fought against the tide of fleeing personnel, making their way to the secure data core. As they reached the heavily fortified room, they could hear the sound of metal tearing as the Axiom breached the station's outer hull. "Download everything," Amelia ordered as they entered the data core. "We can't let the Axiom get their hands on our work." As Dr. Tanaka and Dr. Patel worked feverishly to transfer the data, Amelia stood guard at the door. The sounds of destruction grew closer, and she could feel the Axiom's presence pressing against her mind. "Time's up," she said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "We need to go, now." With the precious data secured, the three scientists made a mad dash for the last remaining shuttle. They could see the Axiom's energy forms pursuing them, tendrils of light reaching out to ensnare them. As they reached the shuttle bay, a blast of energy struck Dr. Patel, sending him sprawling. Amelia and Dr. Tanaka turned back, dragging their fallen comrade into the shuttle just as the doors sealed shut behind them. The shuttle launched, rocketing away from the disintegrating station. Through the viewports, they could see the Axiom swarming over the lunar base, tearing it apart in search of the humans who had dared to defy them. As they hurtled towards Earth, Amelia tended to Dr. Patel's injuries. The climatologist was badly hurt, but alive. Dr. Tanaka piloted the shuttle, her face grim as she navigated through the debris field that was once their home and research center. "Where do we go now?" Dr. Tanaka asked, her eyes never leaving the controls. "Earth is in chaos, and the Axiom will be looking for us." Amelia's mind raced, considering their options. They couldn't risk leading the Axiom to any of the official Gaia Shield facilities. They needed somewhere off the grid, somewhere the aliens wouldn't think to look. "I have an idea," she said finally, "but it's risky, and you're not going to like it." Hours later, their shuttle touched down in a remote area of the Siberian wilderness. As they emerged, bundled against the bitter cold, they were met by a group of stern-faced individuals led by a man Amelia had hoped never to see again. "Dr. Chen," the man said, his voice as cold as the wind whipping around them. "I must admit, I was surprised to receive your message. I thought we had nothing left to discuss after you shut down my research." Amelia met his gaze steadily. "Circumstances have changed, Dr. Volkov. We need your help, and in return, I'm prepared to give you full access to our research data." Dr. Alexei Volkov, once one of the world's leading experts in experimental physics, had been ostracized from the scientific community years ago due to his controversial and often unethical experiments. Now it seemed his secret facility hidden in the Siberian wilderness might be humanity's last hope. Volkov's eyes gleamed with interest. "And what, pray tell, do you need my help with, Dr. Chen?" Amelia took a deep breath, knowing that what she was about to say would change everything. "We need to build a weapon, Dr. Volkov. A weapon capable of defeating the Axiom once and for all." Volkov's smile was cold and predatory. "Now that, my dear, sounds like a challenge worthy of my talents. Come, let us not waste any more time in this cold. We have work to do." As they followed Volkov into his hidden compound, Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that they were making a deal with the devil. But with Earth on the brink of destruction and the Axiom closing in, they were out of options. The next phase of their resistance would be fought not from a state-of-the-art research station, but from a secret lab buried in the frozen wilderness. It was a desperate gamble, but one that Amelia knew they had to take. As the heavy blast doors of Volkov's facility sealed behind them, Amelia silently vowed that no matter what it took, no matter what lines they had to cross, they would find a way to save humanity. The Axiom had destroyed their base and scattered their forces, but they had underestimated human resilience once again. The Great Escape had led them not to safety, but to the front lines of a new, more desperate phase of their struggle. And as Amelia looked at the determined faces of her companions, she knew that the real fight was just beginning. Earth's counterattack. The following months in Dr. Volkov's hidden Siberian facility were a blur of feverish activity. The unlikely alliance between Amelia's team and Volkov's rogue scientists pushed the boundaries of human knowledge and ethics alike. They worked tirelessly, fueled by a mixture of desperation and determination, knowing that every passing day brought Earth closer to the brink. Dr. Tanaka's theories on disrupting the Axiom's energy matrices formed the foundation of their work. Combined with Volkov's unconventional approaches and access to rare materials, they made rapid progress. The weapon they were developing was unlike anything humanity had ever created, a device capable of generating a quantum field that could potentially unravel the very fabric of the Axiom's existence. As they worked, reports from the outside world grew increasingly grim. The Axiom, enraged by the destruction of the lunar research station, had intensified their attacks. Major cities around the globe were experiencing inexplicable phenomena, gravity fluctuations, temporal distortions, and even localized reality warps that defied the laws of physics. One evening, as Amelia was reviewing the latest simulation data, Dr. Patel burst into the lab, his face pale with shock. "You need to see this," he said, activating the main view screen. The screen flickered to life, showing a live feed from what was once downtown Tokyo. The cityscape was unrecognizable, warped and twisted as if seen through a funhouse mirror. Buildings bent at impossible angles, streets rippled like water, and in the center of it all, a swirling vortex of energy pulsed with malevolent purpose. "It's a dimensional rift," Dr. Tanaka breathed, her eyes wide with a mixture of horror and fascination. "The Axiom are trying to reshape our reality to match their own." Amelia's jaw clenched as she watched the chaos unfold. "How long?" Dr. Patel shook his head, his voice grim. "At the current rate of expansion, maybe a week before the rift becomes self-sustaining. Once that happens," he didn't need to finish. They all knew what it meant. Once the rift stabilized, Earth's transformation would be irreversible. Humanity would be forced to either accept the Axiom's salvation or face extinction in a world no longer compatible with their existence. "We're out of time," Amelia declared, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her gut. "The weapon isn't ready, but we have to use it now. It's our only chance." Dr. Volkov, who had been silently observing, spoke up. "The device is unstable. Using it now could tear a hole in the fabric of space-time itself. We'd be risking not just our lives, but the very existence of our universe." Amelia met his gaze, her eyes blazing with determination. "And if we do nothing, we lose everything anyway. I say we take the risk." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity as they prepared for humanity's last stand. The quantum weapon, a massive pulsing sphere of energy contained within a latticework of exotic materials, was loaded onto a specially designed aircraft. Amelia, Dr. Tanaka, and a small team of their most skilled operators would pilot it to Tokyo, to the heart of the dimensional rift. As they prepared for takeoff, Dr. Patel approached Amelia, his expression solemn. "I've sent out a coded message to all remaining Gaia Shield operatives," he said. "If this works, they'll be ready to strike at any other rifts the Axiom have created. If it doesn't," he trailed off, leaving the grim alternative unspoken. Amelia nodded, placing a hand on her friend's shoulder. "Thank you, Raj, for everything." As the aircraft rose into the stormy Siberian sky, Amelia felt the weight of billions of lives on her shoulders. They were humanity's last hope, carrying with them a weapon that could either save their world or destroy it entirely. The journey to Tokyo was tense, punctuated by moments of heart-stopping terror as they navigated through areas of distorted reality. As they approached the city, the true scale of the Axiom's assault became clear. The dimensional rift had grown, encompassing much of the city center in a swirling maelstrom of twisted space and time. "My God," Dr. Tanaka whispered as they circled the rift, searching for the optimal point to deploy their weapon. "It's beautiful in a terrifying way." Amelia nodded grimly. "Let's hope we can appreciate the view from a safe distance soon. Are we in position?" The pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. "As close as we can get without being pulled in, Dr. Chen. It's now or never." Amelia took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the activation switch. In that moment, she felt the weight of all human history, all the triumphs and tragedies that had led to this point. With a silent prayer to whatever forces might be listening, she pressed the button. The quantum weapon hummed to life, its energy building to a crescendo that made the air itself vibrate. As it reached critical mass, Amelia felt a presence in her mind, the Axiom, realizing too late what was happening. "You don't know what you're doing," the alien voice echoed in her thoughts, tinged with what might have been fear. "You'll destroy us all." Amelia's resolve hardened. Maybe, she thought back, but we'll do it on our terms. This is our world, and we won't give it up without a fight. With a blinding flash and a sound that seemed to tear reality itself, the quantum weapon discharged. The dimensional rift convulsed, its swirling energies recoiling from the weapon's assault. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. Then, with a thunderous implosion, the rift collapsed in on itself. The Axiom's presence vanished from Amelia's mind, cut off as suddenly as if a switch had been flipped. The distorted cityscape below began to slowly, painfully, reshape itself into more familiar forms. As the dust settled and the realization of what they had accomplished began to sink in, Amelia allowed herself a moment of hope. They had struck a decisive blow against the Axiom, proving that humanity would not go quietly into the night. But as reports began to flood in from around the globe, of other rifts closing, of Axiom forces in disarray, Amelia knew that this was not the end. It was merely the beginning of a new chapter in humanity's struggle for survival. The counterattack had been launched, and Earth had landed the first real blow against their would-be conquerors. Now, the real work of rebuilding, of preparing for the Axiom's inevitable return would begin. As their aircraft turned back towards their hidden base, Amelia gazed out at the scared but healing Earth below. They had won a battle, but the war was far from over. Yet, for the first time since the Axiom had revealed themselves, she felt a surge of genuine optimism. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger. Whatever the future held, they would face it together, united in their determination to forge their own destiny among the stars. Triumph of humanity. In the months following the successful deployment of the quantum weapon in Tokyo, Earth experienced a period of cautious optimism. The Axiom's presence had significantly diminished, their dimensional rifts closing one by one across the globe. Humanity began the arduous task of rebuilding, their resilience shining through even in the face of unprecedented devastation. Amelia and her team, now hailed as heroes, found themselves at the center of a global effort to prepare for the Axiom's potential return. The hidden Siberian facility, once a place of secrecy and ethically questionable experiments, was transformed into the headquarters of a new international defense initiative. Dr. Volkov, his brilliance finally recognized and his past transgressions forgiven in light of his contributions, worked alongside Dr. Tanaka to refine and improve the quantum weapon technology. Their goal was to create a global defense network capable of detecting and neutralizing any future incursions by the Axiom or other extraterrestrial threats. Dr. Patel led efforts to repair the damage done to Earth's climate, using the knowledge gained from their earlier atmospheric regulators to implement large-scale environmental restoration projects. Slowly but surely, the planet began to heal. Amelia, for her part, found herself in a new role, that of diplomat and leader. She traveled the world, sharing her experiences and knowledge, helping to unite humanity under a common cause. The threat of the Axiom had done what centuries of human history could not. It had brought the people of Earth together, transcending old rivalries and conflicts in the face of a greater challenge. But even as they celebrated their victory and worked towards a brighter future, Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that this was merely the calm before an even greater storm. Her suspicions were confirmed on a crisp autumn morning, almost a year to the day since the Battle of Tokyo. Amelia was reviewing reports in her office when an alarm blared through the facility. She rushed to the command center, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. "What's happening?" she demanded as she burst into the room. Dr. Tanaka looked up from her console, her face pale. "We're detecting a massive energy signature at the edge of our solar system. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." On the main view screen, a swirling vortex of energy materialized, dwarfing even the largest planets in their solar system. From its depths emerged a fleet of Axiom vessels, their crystalline structures gleaming ominously in the void of space. Their back, Amelia breathed, a chill running down her spine. And this time, they're not holding anything back. As if in response to her words, a familiar presence touched her mind. The voice of the Axiom, once confident and condescending, now held a note of desperation. "You have left us no choice, Dr. Chen," the alien consciousness communicated. "Your resistance has forced our hand. We offered salvation, and you answered with violence. Now we come not as saviors, but as conquerors." Amelia's jaw clenched as she pushed back against the mental intrusion. "You never understood us," she fought back fiercely. "Humanity doesn't want salvation if it means losing who we are. We'd rather face extinction on our feet than survive on our knees." She felt a ripple of frustration from the alien presence before it withdrew. Turning to her team, Amelia's voice rang out with determination. "This is it, everyone. The moment we've been preparing for. Initiate the Gaia Shield protocols. Alert all nations. The final battle for Earth begins now." What followed was a conflict unlike anything humanity had ever experienced. The Axiom unleashed the full might of their technology, warping reality itself in their attempts to subdue Earth. Cities were engulfed in temporal storms, mountains reshaped by gravitational anomalies, and entire regions phased in and out of existence. But humanity was ready. The global defense network, built from the quantum weapon technology, sprang to life. Shields of shimmering energy enveloped major population centers, while counter-weapons struck back at the Axiom forces, unraveling their energy matrices and sending their ships spiraling into the void. Amelia found herself at the heart of the conflict, coordinating Earth's defenses from a mobile command center that darted between hotspots around the globe. She watched with a mixture of awe and terror as humans from all walks of life rose to the challenge, displaying courage and ingenuity in the face of impossible odds. Farmers repurposed their equipment to generate localized quantum fields, disrupting Axiom energy weapons. Hackers and programmers worked tirelessly to counter the aliens' attempts to infiltrate Earth's digital infrastructure. Even children played their part, their unfiltered imaginations proving remarkably effective at predicting and countering the Axiom's reality-warping tactics. The battle raged for days, then weeks, with neither side gaining a decisive advantage. Earth's defenses held, but the constant assault was taking its toll. Resources were stretched thin, and fatigue began to set in among even the most determined defenders. It was Dr. Volkov who finally proposed the solution that would turn the tide. "We've been thinking too small," he declared during a strategy session. "The Axiom's power comes from their collective consciousness. If we can disrupt that on a massive scale." The plan was audacious, bordering on insane. They would use Earth's entire defense network, every quantum device and energy regulator on the planet, to generate a planet-wide pulse that would resonate with the specific frequency of the Axiom's consciousness. "It's risky," Dr. Tanaka warned. "If our calculations are off by even a fraction, we could tear reality apart on a global scale." Amelia looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each person present. She saw fear there, yes, but also determination and trust. "We've come too far to back down now," she said softly. "This is our home, our reality. It's time we show the Axiom exactly what that means." The preparations were made with frantic speed. As the Axiom pressed their attack, sensing perhaps that something was amiss, every nation on Earth coordinated their efforts for this final, desperate gambit. When the moment came, Amelia stood at the primary control station, her hand hovering over the activation switch. She thought of everything that had led to this moment, the abductions, the battles, the sacrifices made by so many. With a deep breath, she pressed the button. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. A wave of energy unlike anything ever witnessed before erupted from the Earth, expanding outward at impossible speeds. It washed over the Axiom fleet, and for a moment, everything seemed to hang in perfect, crystalline stillness. Then, with a sound that seemed to shake the very foundations of reality, the Axiom ships began to disintegrate. Their energy forms, once so alien and terrifying, unraveled like mist before the morning sun. Amelia felt the alien presence in her mind one last time, a jumble of confusion, fear, and perhaps, in the end, a glimmer of understanding. Then it was gone, snuffed out along with the rest of the Axiom consciousness. As the energy wave dissipated and the dust of battle began to settle, a stunned silence fell over the Earth. Then, slowly at first but with growing volume, cheers began to erupt from every corner of the globe. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. In the days and weeks that followed, as the world began the long process of healing and rebuilding, Amelia found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this point. The Axiom, for all their advanced technology and collective intelligence, had fundamentally misunderstood what made humanity unique. It wasn't just their resilience or their ingenuity, though those had certainly played a part. It was their diversity, their individuality, their capacity for both great good and terrible destruction, and above all, their unwavering determination to forge their own path, no matter the odds. As she stood on a hilltop, watching the sun set on a world forever changed but unbroken, Amelia felt a profound sense of hope for the future. Humanity had proven itself ready to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors or subjects, but as explorers and innovators. The Axiom had sought to remake Earth in their image, offering a false salvation that would have stripped away everything that made humans human. Instead, they had inadvertently pushed humanity to achieve heights they never thought possible. As the first stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, Amelia smiled. The universe was vast and full of wonders, and humanity was now ready to face whatever challenges it might hold. They would go forward not in fear, but with courage, curiosity, and the unshakable knowledge that together, there was nothing they couldn't overcome. The Axiom had learned the hard way. Humans don't negotiate, they don't surrender, and they certainly don't go quietly into the night. They fight, they adapt, and in the end, they triumph. And in that triumph, humanity had not only saved their world, but had taken the first steps towards a future brighter than any they could have imagined. The stars awaited, and this time, they were ready.